On New Year's Day 2009, a Bay Area transit officer shot and killed 22-year-old Oscar Grant at an Oakland train station. Grant was face down, hands behind his back. The officer said he meant to pull out his taser and mistakenly pulled out his gun. You probably saw the headlines, the protest, and that officer's trial. But the new movie, Fruitvale Station, takes you deeper, showing the personal story behind the tragedy. Director Ryan Coogler talked to HLN's Lynn Berry earlier.
Ryan, I watched the film last night to prepare for this interview, and I have to say, incredibly powerful, from the acting to the personal story of Oscar, because I'm sure that that was your goal as a director, to capture this young boy. And I first just want to ask you, a lot of people are making a comparison to the Trayvon Martin case because of the time that this happened. What do you make of that? Because you obviously didn't intend for that to be the case.
No, not at all. We started making the film before Trayvon was killed, and it's really ironic and a coincidence that the film is being released, at the time that the trial was going on. The release date was picked, when the Weinstein Company acquired the film. I know that a lot of young African American males are dying. You know what I mean? Every day in this country.
What do you make about the current headline, the national conversation that's being had about race right now?
What do I think it's a conversation that is definitely necessary. And the conversation even more so I think is necessary is what can we do to stop these young males from dying so rapidly. You look at what's happening in Chicago, you look at what's happening where I'm from, and in Florida. Young African American males are dying way too early as a result of gun violence, whether it's black on black crime, whether it's officer involved shootings. Whether it's somebody taking liberties and taking a life. You, as we discussed, captured really the heart of who Oscar Grant was. What did his family say after they saw the film? It was an emotional movie for them to watch. Oscar, like you said, he's not a saint in the film. You know what I mean? He's dealing with a lot of his issues are at the forefront of the film, and what happens to him is something that they lived through already. So it was a very difficult thing for them to watch. But they said incredibly kind things to the cast members. I heard Oscar Grant's mother speaking about the film, and really she felt that you captured the personal story of Oscar in this movie. Was that part of the goal? Absolutely. I mean, for the goal for me was to really make a story about who he was to the people that he was the closest to. Because after he was killed, there was a lot of push-pull on him as a person, to the point that his humanity was lost. People on one side wanted to make him out to be this symbol, this activist who had never done anything wrong in their life, who was a peacekeeper and a peacemaker, and the other side wanted to make him out just to be this criminal, and that was all he was. He was a felon, he was a drug dealer who got what he deserved on that platform. And I knew that the real person was none of that. You know what I mean? He was a 360-degree person with flaws and upside. Is there one part of the film that you really think got to the heart of the story that you were trying to tell? One scene? I mean, it's tough to break it down into scenes. I can say one relationship in the film was very important. The relationship between Oscar and his daughter. She was the person who was most affected by what happened to him. She's 8 years old now. And she's still here, still alive, still living, and she'll forever be living with the scars of our father being taken away from her. Ryan Coogler, director I'm sure we'll hear much more about, director of Fruitvale Station. Thanks so much for being with us. Oh, thank you.